Imagine that you are called down to the office one day in school. You are a star basketball point guard and a star soccer goalie. Your school has now implemented a mandatory high school steroid testing program into it. What would be the first thought that crossed through your mind? I believe that at least one of those thoughts could have to do with basic human rights and privacy, among many other things. Approximately 13% of high schools across the United States have already implemented steroid testing programs into the high schools. In New Jersey, 240,000 students alone have been tested at a rate of 500 students a year. And in total, New Jersey has spent $200,000 a year for testing. After much research, I've concluded that steroid testing among high school-age athletes is a significant issue that affects us all, and not just the athletes. Do you like privacy and self-rights? Well, steroid testing has been known to strip individual students of them as if they were being reduced down to a baby. It is comprehensible that some of you may be thinking, well, steroid testing helps to reduce the number of users. Yet, there are multiple alternatives to testing which may be more effective, such as education. My proposition is that I believe that steroid testing in high school athletes is unnecessary due to other drugs being abused, decreased use of the drugs, and high cost, plus the procedure of testing. So as stated above, I believe that steroid testing in high school athletes is unnecessary due to other drugs being abused, decreased use, cost, and effective procedures. An athlete myself, I can relate, and I believe that everybody should deserve their privacy. In general, testing for anabolic steroids, or drugs that reduce fat and build lean muscle, could be viewed as impractical. This means that it is unnecessary and it lacks sense. Second, when tested, students may potentially feel violated in their rights, or they may not feel comfortable when being subjected to spontaneous testing. In sanitary law, the legal definition of privacy is as follows: the right of people to be free from unwarranted drug testing and electronic surveillance. Currently, many states, including New Jersey, Texas, and recently Illinois, as depicted in this map, have already been implementing these steroid testing programs into their high schools, and they've all garnered the same low number results of users. Ordinary high school students, just like you and me, have been placed into these compromising situations. There is controversy over whether people have their rights violated when tested. Also, people think that testing is a great deterrent. However, as I already stated, there are many alternatives that may be more effective. There's also controversy over the high cost of testing and how useful it actually is. Steroid testing is performed by having an individual urinate into a cup and then tracing the urine for traces of drugs. In the past, many prominent high school cases have surfaced regarding the steroid testing, including ones in Oregon and one of Pennsylvania's neighboring states, New Jersey. Those cases revealed that there actually was an issue with constitutionality of testing the students, and they focused on whether the states could make exceptions to the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution, as some people believe is possible. However, today this topic remains an issue that all students must be aware is urgent. Personally, I hear steroid abuse every day in Major League Baseball and other pro sports associations. And I compete in high school sports along with many of my friends. We all give 110% of an effort every day. We all try to participate the clean way. It could almost be viewed as an insult, in my opinion, to have to get tested when we all try to work the hard way. Everyone should have basic human rights at least. To start, my first point is that student-athletes who play sports in high school may not necessarily just be using steroids. The students could potentially be using HGH, a human growth hormone primarily for medical use, which is invisible to current drug testing. Specifically, HGH is an illegal substance except for when used medically that is similar to steroids in that it reduces fat and builds lean muscle. Second, the HGH cannot be detected in current testing procedures, unlike anabolic steroids. And although scientists have been working desperately to try to develop a test, a fully developed one is well down the road, according to two George Mason Science College scientists. They are attempting to develop a reliable one. However, the test, which has many flaws, is still far from developed. Some people, including one former high school coach from Texas, says that it is difficult to tell whether students are going through a growth spurt or if they are possibly using an illegal substance. Third, athletes may not only be using HGH, but also other illegal substances such as marijuana. Those substances are visible when undergoing that particular drug test. Drug testing for marijuana and other illegal drugs may prove to be more beneficial, as the cost of these drugs is much cheaper than steroids, which can cost up to $100 if not more. And while athletes use anabolic steroids illegally, testing for other muscle-building substances and illegal drugs such as HGH and marijuana may remain more of an issue. My next and second point is that steroid testing can be considered a violation of human rights. The student-athletes being tested could also feel violated when being confronted with a test. The Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution provides that every human has the right to be secure in their house against unreasonable searches and seizures, as illustrated in this poster. Further, additionally, innocent until proven guilty is basically secured in the Fifth Amendment, where everyone is guaranteed a trial by jury before they can be legally accused of anything, also illustrated in this poster. According to my history teacher and former lawyer, Mrs. McNamara, in the Vernonia case in Oregon, when young teenagers were confronted with steroid tests after they signed up for sports, many argued that they were getting their rights taken away. And although it occurred in the late 1990s, James Acton, a football player who was involved in that football case in Vernonia, felt that he was having his rights taken away when he was being given a steroid test, and he even went as far as court. Further, Washington State says that drug testing is unconstitutional. And while certain states continue to argue for that right to test, Washington Supreme Court states, quote, "Random drug testing of student athletes is not allowed under the current state constitution." Although the constitutionality of testing for steroids is a conflict in the United States, the United Kingdom, case law in the European Court of Human Rights, has already established the law entitled the Principle of Proportionality. And this law indicates that the infringement of rights may be justified if lawful and appropriate. Similar to the United States Fourth Amendment in the United States Constitution, the United Kingdom has Article 8, which echoes the former. While some regions of the world may allow the steroid testing, many prominent law cases have revealed that when undergoing the testing, students do feel that they are being stripped of their basic human rights. Third, steroid testing is costly, and reports have confirmed that there are a minimal number of students who have tested positive for them. To explain, research has shown that the $766 million drug testing industry can charge up to $100 per test, as I already mentioned, if not more. One study in 2010 has already indicated that after testing high school-aged athletes for steroids, only 19 positive results out of 45,000 tests were found. Further, one program in effect in the state of New Jersey, Pennsylvania's neighboring state, tested 240,000 athletes, with 500 students a year getting tested. As I mentioned before, the program costs $200,000 a year. Of the 240,000 athletes tested, only 2 people tested positive. So is a program that is nearly throwing money down the drain really effective when only this low number of users were caught? Clearly, the anabolic steroid use is not as prevalent among high school-age athletes as was previously thought. Conversely, one source has shown that 3.5% of high school-age athletes have admitted to using steroids at least once in their career. That is a 67% increase over 1981 and a 17% increase as cited by figures in the National Institute for Drug Abuse in 1999. However, testing for anabolic steroids really was never a significant issue until the last decade. So even though anabolic steroids were once thought to be widespread among high school-age athletes, the statistics clearly contrast this view. Lastly, the way in which tests have been administered is impractical and the timing of the testing has just been ineffective. To start, Mr. Funston, a teacher at this school, played soccer at a Division I school. He reported to me that when he played in around 2001 to 2003 at Delaware, testing was supposed to be randomized. However, he, who was tested once in his career, believed that, quote, "the coach chose those athletes which he thought were clean and not using drugs." Hence, the team would look clean, quote unquote, and appear better. Moreover, the timing of testing has been rash. In particular, New Jersey has 240,000 high school student athletes and has tested only 500 students per year. While the testing is supposed to be done in a randomized fashion, it could be considered the opposite of this.